Take two. So I had an event tonight. So my startup basically centers around helping event organizers with doing stuff at their events. And so I was at an event tonight and it went really well. Pretty well, I think. We had a lot of great stuff, a lot of great feedback. We were hopefully, I think, able to provide a lot of great value to the people that were there. And of course, tomorrow after the event, I will go back and check in with people and see how it went. But tomorrow, I also have another event. And so I need to do some preparation today. So even though it's actually not technically May 1st, it's still April 30th, tonight's probably going to be an all-nighter, or at least just a very late night. And we're going to be doing the prep work to be able to help out tomorrow at that event. So with that, what I want to talk about in this video is the importance of going to wherever your customers are, no matter where they are. I've had startups fail before in the past because I didn't go to where my customers were, or I wasn't willing to, or I wasn't able to, or whatever the case was. And I'll get into why each of my startups failed in a different video. But it's so important that you be willing and able to go to where your customers are so that you can be able to, be on the ground with them when they're hopefully, ideally, when they're doing the thing that they do that you're trying to help them with. So we got to get some work done now. Let's do it. Okay, so it's the next morning, and I kind of made a mistake of, well, I don't know if it was a mistake. I let myself sleep in a little bit, and the reason that I did that is because I actually did get up at 5 a.m., and I sorry, I can't really get comfortable. Oh, that's not going to work. Damn. So I actually did get up. That's not clear. Oh, man. Yeah, so I did get up at 5 a.m., and I was just really, really tired. And I think one thing that's really important is to listen to your body. And if your body's telling you that you're tired or that you don't feel well, you can definitely try and push through. But just remember that if you don't listen to your body and something happens that you're not able to do the work, that's not helpful either. And so especially since tonight I'm going to be out at an event with other people, I want to make sure that I'm getting the right amount of sleep, or at least enough sleep that I can still function. I'm not going to be falling asleep or getting tired and yawning in people's faces at the event, because that would be inappropriate, very unprofessional. That wouldn't be fun. That wouldn't be good. So either way, regardless, that aside, I'm going to do some work now, do the work that I had to do. I'm not really going to record it because I just really want to focus on getting it done. And the type of work that it is, it's it's all manual right now. So there are certain things that I have automated. Like the first time I did this a month ago, it was extremely manual, and now there are things that are automated. And eventually I will automate things even more. And I think that this will be like an AI play where I'm able to use AI to do a lot of the tasks that I'm personally doing manually right now. But right now, in this moment, that's not happening yet, which means that it's a lot of manual reading text, deciphering what it means, figuring out how to model it in a database, and kind of putting it in that database myself. So yeah, again, not going to record this part just because I really need to get this done and focus on that. Also, I think my battery is dying, which is another reason to not be able to record it right now. But regardless, I will check back in after I'm done, and we'll talk about the importance of going to where your customers are and why that kind of screwed me in the past. Hey, good morning. So it's actually the next morning. I worked all yesterday, got everything done, and then the event was in the evening, and it was great. It was awesome. There was a lot of people there. Got to meet a lot of people, which was great. And a lot of people also really enjoyed what I did. So I know I'm not really going into detail on that. I'm kind of still, I don't know if I say I'm completely in stealth mode, which is a term used to describe startups that are working on their startup and they're validating things, and maybe they're talking to customers and talking to users, and they're maybe building something, but they're not necessarily, they haven't had a hard launch yet. They're not, publicizing to the world. They're still doing stuff internally and kind of just talking to people kind of strategically, which is I kind of feel like where I am personally. But regardless, it was really great. And what I wanted to talk about really in this video was the importance of going to where your customers are. And I know I've mentioned that in the last clip, I think. And I can't stress this enough. Like if your customers are if they're event based, which mine are, you need to go to those events. Make sure that you're there. Make sure that you're there talking to them and supporting them and listening and observing and watching how things work. You want to get as close to the action, meaning if you're trying to solve a specific problem, you really need to be as close to your customer when they are actually in that moment trying to solve that problem as possible. And so for me, a large part of this takes place at events. Not completely, but at least right now, a large part of it. And so that's, I mean, not to say that I'm going to these events just for that. I go to them because they're also useful to me and I enjoy them and the people are awesome. But that is a huge thing right now. I guess it's just really coincidental that my customers happen to be at these events and I also like going to the events. But just generally speaking, right? Go to where your customers are. When I was a freshman in college, I think, I had this idea for, I wanted to create an online community for entrepreneurs. And it was going to be sort of, I guess, like LinkedIn, but really, I guess, more narrowed down for entrepreneurs. The vision that I really had, and I think I might have mentioned this in my last video on the tech stacks for each of my startups, was there was this online community called Forest, and it existed, I think, in maybe the late 2000s, early 2010s, and it was pretty awesome. But it was focusing on UX designers, or I guess just web designers at the time, because I don't know if the iPhone had come out yet, or if it was really a big deal yet. So it was focusing on like UX and web designers, and also then the developers. And you would identify yourself when you joined the platform as a designer or a developer, and the conversations, they overlapped. Like people all, everyone talked to one another, but they were very much, you had two different perspectives, and it was very clear these different perspectives. You can go look it up. Forrst is how it was spelled, I think. And it was an amazing community. And so I wanted to create this community that I thought would kind of resemble that, kind of bring that for the entrepreneurship space, because a lot of people are interested in entrepreneurship. A lot of people want to have their own businesses or be startup founders, and it's really hard. There's no class that you can go to. I know a lot of universities have entrepreneurship majors or entrepreneurship classes. Like I started out in college as an entrepreneurship major, but entrepreneurship or being a founder is like one of those things that you really have to learn by doing. And I wanted to create this community to help people out with that and kind of just bring people together. And I was a freshman in college, and I had no real world experience, like absolutely none. And when I thought about going to where the customers were, first off, I didn't even really understand who my customer was. Like I thought college kids would be my customers, or I thought somehow miraculously I could snap my fingers and just get people who were already in the real world as startup founders or entrepreneurs. But I had no connections to these people. I barely even had connections to the college kids that I was trying to target, because the only real way of connecting with them is you can go to class, obviously, and try and just meet everybody, which I'm an introvert. More on that later, I guess. But, another thing is that, sorry, position's not the most comfortable to sit in. The other thing was, there were these organizations, like these student organizations, but you couldn't join all of them at once, right? There was a big commitment to join one of them. And they already kind of had their processes in place that I don't know that they really would have been that open to having someone like me come in and try and pitch them on something. But the point I'm trying to make here is that I didn't understand that you need to go to where your customers were. I very much so thought it was a matter of build it and they would come. And I think that's like this age-old kind of thinking, this like line of thought that isn't really true. If you have a startup idea and you're thinking to yourself, well, great, it's amazing, I want to go build this. My advice is don't build it. Go to where your customers are and just interact with them. Meet them. Learn from them. Watch them do the thing that they do if you can. That's the most important thing. And this will help you to say, this is a good idea, this is a bad idea. And you want to get to those two places as quickly as possible. Actually, ideally, you want to get to this is a bad idea as quickly as possible, because you don't want to spend your time doing something that ultimately won't pan out. Chances are it won't pan out. So spend your time learning, and through that learning process, making hopefully what end up being good decisions. Also, these videos will be out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's my goal. But just because of how the events fell this week, and because of the amount of manual process that needed to happen, I wasn't able to get 3 out, unfortunately. So I do apologize. But thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, subscribe, comment, like, all that fun stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. See ya.